Okay, gentlemen, now that you have mastered the art of calculating volume of prisms, your challenge is this. You have been enlisted to create a brand new city. To create your city, you need to use various copies of centimeter grid paper. So, like so. You can also use your grid book because they are 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter squares on there as well. You're going to create 3D buildings to construct buildings out of rectangular prisms or even composite rectangular prisms, which is the same as saying like having 2 rectangular prisms on top of each other to create different shapes. In your city, you need to have the following buildings. You need to have a hospital, you need to have a bank, you need to have some sort of government building, for example, a courthouse. You must have a fire station, a police station, a library, at least one restaurant, and of course a school. Now, you can choose to add other buildings other than that, but you need to have those buildings there in your city. You need to obviously find, the idea of this task is to find the volume, and to add a little extra challenge in there, we have made your challenge, the total volume of all of your buildings, oh my gosh, what just happened, to be exactly 2,000 centimeters cubed, okay? So your volume needs to be exactly 2,000 centimeters cubed. You'll need to be pretty clever with the way that you go about your plan. I've done an example here of how you can show, let me just zoom in on that to show you there, of how you can show your measurements for a prism. So if I was to use this one here, I would say, okay, well my building, let's pretend this is a hospital. My length, my longest side looks like 8. And I'm going to say 8 centimeters. My width of, oh, actually I should make that my height, shouldn't I? So sorry boys, I'll make my length the 4 centimeters. My width the 2 centimeters. And my height of the building is going to be the 8 centimeters there. Now, if I was to calculate the volume, my rule for volume is, of course, length times width times height. Now, I'm expecting to see this working out in your grid books to show that you have calculated your volume correctly. 4 times 2 times 8. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 8 is 64. And obviously I need my units, 64 centimeters cubed. So you'll need to fill out this table into your grid book. Alternatively, you could do it on your OneNote, but you need to have evidence that you have really thought about your design and the volume of each building. Now, after you've calculated your volume for all of your buildings, so hospital, whatever these other buildings are, finding out your total volume, it has to equal 2,000 centimeters cubed. Okay. Some other things you need to be mindful of. You have to include all of those buildings, as I mentioned before. They need to be rectangular prisms or 2 rectangular prisms to create a composite rectangular prism. Needs to be creative, needs to be neat. Your city has to have a name. Be creative in coming up with a name for your city, your town, whatever it is. As I said before, you need to have the length, width, height, and volume for all prisms. So that includes, of course, if you've done composite prisms. Your measurements need to have a correct unit, which of course is going to be centimeters cubed. Your volume calculations are correct, and it equals exactly 2,000 centimeters cubed. Now, before I stop this video, I'm just going to show you some quick examples of some ones that I have found that look pretty cool. So here we go, we've got a city here, we've got a Target building, you can see a hospital here. These are essentially just rectangular prisms, okay, but because they've been colored in, they look great. You can tell which building is which. Here's another little city here with roads and some added extra features to make it look exciting, I guess. These ones look really cool because they're so bright and colourful. It's really important to plan out the layout of your city as well, because we need to include roads and things like that. So some more examples there for you. This one looks great. Obviously this one we've got triangular prisms on top of a rectangular prism. If you're looking to challenge yourself even further and you'd like to find out, oh well, how do I calculate the volume of a triangular prism or a cylinder or something like that, come and have a chat to us or do a bit of research yourself and see if you can work it out. But feel free to challenge yourself in that way if you choose to. So that's it. Volume City.